Hi, I'm Alise Chapins, and today I'm joined by Nathan Hertz, director of the film THINESTRA, which is screening at this year's Screamfest. Thank you so much for speaking with me today, Nathan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be on.
Yeah. So you tell us a little bit about what drew you to the script and why you wanted to direct this movie?
Sure, of course, yeah. Well, first of all, Finestra is a film about someone who decides to take a diet pill, and then it's very much in the world of Ozempic right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And then all the weight that she sheds comes back as a doppelganger of her. And I've been wanting to tell this kind of story for a really, really long time. I'm someone who's really struggled with my weight my whole life, and so the themes of the film are really personal to me. And I'm also a huge body horror fan. I grew up on Cronenberg, and I saw an original version of the script a few years prior to making the film, and then once Ozempic hit the market, we kind of revised it and crafted it for what's happening right now. And just so, yeah, I was just really passionate to tell the story.
Yeah, for sure. And that comes through in the telling of the story.
Thank you.
One of the things that kind of just right out of the gate is that they're shooting this commercial for Snog, which is such a great name for an like
Thank
eggnog.
you.
I love it. Yeah.
Thanks.
But there's this drive right away to retouch the pictures of the objectively beautiful model. And so it kind of sets up the premise right from the start. So can you talk about just like that scene in particular? Because I thought it was such a great setup for the whole film.
Well, thank you. Well, I used to work as actually a photo retoucher, so it's something that feels quite close to me. But the idea that you could take the human form and edit it, right,
Mhm.
transform it and manipulate it, I thought was really perfect for the theme of our film. And also from a character perspective, having her confronted with this image of what the physical form could look like over and over and over again, I think for her is also kind of like driving her crazy in her daily life. So that's kind of what led to that decision.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, and then I think one of the other scenes that just is such a fantastic like visual is the room of donuts. Can you talk about building that and shooting in that? Because that just seemed absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell I'm a pastry person or no, so I've been on all sorts of crazy diets in my life, and I think I was on some keto thing
Mhm.
for a few months, and I started craving bread really, really intensely. And I actually went to sleep and I would have that dream as a recurring dream that would come up to me. It was very vivid. I'd wake up in a kind of prison of donuts, and I knew the only way I could escape was to eat through the wall of donuts, which is, of course, what I wanted to do anyway. But I was split, right? There's like what you want, what your body is telling you to do, and what you intellectually know you can't do.
Right.
And so in that environment, those issues become confused.
Mhm.
And so I can't remember where I was, but I was standing in line somewhere, I think, and I thought, I remembered that dream I had, and I thought, oh, I've got to put that in the film. And when I shared that with our production design team, Colby Henkels and Rachel, um, I told them about the vision of this film, and they said, "Oh, well, wouldn't it be like quite a bit of work to go?" And I said, "Yeah, but we're on an indie budget here, but I think it's something we should really go for." And they spent a long time crafting foam molds of donuts and creating this beautiful environment. There's a tunnel of donuts,
Yeah.
and the whole room is set in a kind of like pool of milk. And yeah, so anyway, I guess that's kind of where it came from. I think by the end of production, there wasn't we also had a tremendous amount of real donuts. And I
Mm.
after the end of each shoot day, I said, "Who wants donuts? Someone take these donuts away from me." No one wanted donuts by the end of the film. So
So
yeah.
that's the real cure is not a diet. It's to rather fully immerse yourself in just a rim of
Yeah.
donuts.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
got it.
recommend exposure therapy for
There we
sure.
go.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So the immediate after effects whenever she takes the Nestra are just so great and so messy.
Mhm.
Can you just talk about like making the decisions about how to shoot that and like what you wanted that to look like because yeah, I think it's just really effective.
Sure. Yeah, well, we use just about all practical effects in the film, which speak to the talent of our special effects makeup artists. And when we were in an initial conversation about what that discarded flesh should look like and how it should come out of her body, I grew up with really bad acne, and I always imagine the stuff that comes, like it's gonna get gross. The little oily, bloody droplets that if you squeeze your body real hard can kind of explode out.
Yep.
And I thought, ooh, it should look like that. So we had this like really fun day during pre-production where the special effects makeup artists came over to my house and we just brewed up different substances, and they had these amazing plastic tubes that we would hide and then a pump, and it comes shooting out. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it kind of reminded me like of what I would imagine whenever you think like, oh, liposuction, and then there's this
Yeah,
like
exactly,
vat
exactly.
of fat or whatever there. Yeah,
Yellowish, kind
yeah,
of clumpy. Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
No, it's really great.
Thank you.
I also love that the movie is centered around Christmas because I think that's such a an important time when like people feel very free to talk about other people's
Right.
weight.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
like
Yeah.
not just your own thing,
But
but people
everyone
feel
is
real
like, oh,
comfortable. Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
so yeah, can you just talk a little bit about that of the way that
Sure.
Christmas
Yeah.
plays into that?
Happy to. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that Christmas is like a pressure cooker for people who are struggling, with body image, or if they're on a restricted diet. It's a time where you're surrounded by food, these delicious treats. Everyone is expected to just partake and be jolly. But everyone also knows that New Year's resolutions are going to be set in a few weeks, which reminds you of the resolutions you set last year, right? And you think, well, where am I now physically? And I think that it's just a pressure cooker for people in this culture, I think.
Yeah.
And it can be really, really hard. And it's been hard for me. And so I knew that I wanted to put our character under the maximum amount of pressure and strain. And so I thought placing her in during Christmas would be excellent. And also, Christmas in LA is so weird, right? Because it's
I'm
like
sure.
80 degrees outside and everyone's in Christmas sweaters just sweating. And it's like, it's all pretend, it's all this,
Mm,
it's like an advertising campaign, like in the film. Like it's like this idea of Christmas we're trying to communicate to each other. And I love Christmas, but I also think it's crazy. And I'm always like, thank God that's over,
yeah.
once it's done. So.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate the relationship between Penny and her mom. I think
Mhm.
that one is really interesting, especially in the ways I think it's very different than the way we expect that kind of relationship to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you talk about that some? Because I think it's just it kind of flips that a little on its head from what, yeah.
I'm just so, it makes me feel so great that you appreciate that. I think in a lot of films you see kids and parents have this tremendously combative relationship.
Yeah.
But sometimes the thing that's most scary about our parents are the things that we like about them and love about them and that we
Mm,
see in ourselves because we're headed towards a future and we don't exactly want to emulate their path. Um, I think that, Penny's mom in the film is actually very supportive and she's doing her best to help her daughter through this period of her life, but she can't help but be a symbol to Penny of her own issues or a reflection of her inner struggle. And so you see Penny kind of almost putting her mom into this villain role. But we as an audience see her mom, she's just kind of a kooky, like trying to be helpful to her daughter, trying to get through. And so yeah, I thought that dynamic played out really well. And uh, I don't want to get too into my own stuff here, but it's my mom and I share very similar journeys through uh, diet and I don't want to. I don't want to delve too much into her personal life, but
Okay.
yeah, we have kind of mirrored issues, I'd say,
Mm.
around food. And that's something that and yet my mom is incredibly supportive. So yeah, I suppose it came from that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you have that same kind of situation with I think it's Josh. Is that the neighbor?
Uh-huh, that's the hot
Yeah,
neighbor. Yeah,
yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah. But I think in both of those cases, you have somebody who accepts her before
Exactly. Yes.
anything. And I think that's a really interesting thing because then she ends up listening more to like Niels. And
Right.
I
Right.
thought that was so interesting because I think we can see that. Can you just, yeah, speak just a little bit to that of like the voices that we listen to?
Definitely. I mean, first of all, I want to say that this isn't a movie about an overweight person becoming
Right,
skinny,
right,
right? Like this is someone who from the start of the film is perfectly good looking.
right.
The lead actors, Melissa and Michelle Macedo, we have twins actually playing the same role, and they're both totally great looking people in their own right. The issues for Penny are so much more in her own head, right? She's in a world of confirmation bias. So she's unlovable. The nice things people say, oh, it's just a lie, really, or it's just them trying to make her feel good or whatever. It's the negative things, just as you pointed out, like what Neil says, her boss. Um, that those are the things that really land. Those are the things that really get through and haunt her. And I think that's just a product of being stuck in our issues, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so, yeah. Even one example of this, I don't know if you noticed, but during the Christmas party scene, there's a guy who goes up to Penny. He works at the same place. Totally sweet, nice guy, kind of a little interested, wants to get to know her. She can't even see it, right? She can't even
Right.
recognize that someone would approach her in that way because of the way that she sees herself, right? Like she sees herself as disgusting and unlovable. And so, what is this? What is this interaction? I don't get it, and she just sort of walks away. And I wanted to put little markers in the film because I knew people would relate to that. I think I relate to that. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just as we kind of wrap up, like what would you hope that people would take away from the film? And what did you take away from making this movie? Like what would you say kind of changed about yourself after working on this?
well, I certainly don't love donuts anymore. I cured myself of my donut fascination. Look, I think there's no, I don't want to give away the ending, but
Right.
I think that there's no real solving these issues. You don't go to a movie and leave free of the culture that you grew up in. But at least if you're in a theater of people, you can feel less alone.
Hmm.
Everyone is scared and everyone's laughing at the same thing. And I think the truth about our culture is there is so much collective shame. And I think horror brings people together and unifies us. And I think that that's what I would love for people to take away from the movie. Personally, making this movie probably took a few years off my life. It was a quite a hard but beautiful experience, and I spent 10 years trying to have the opportunity to make a film, and now that I've had it, I think what I'm taking away is there's life on the other side of this massive goal that I set out for myself, which is to make my first feature, and I've got projects that I'm really passionate now about trying to get off the ground and trying to develop because just want to keep pushing forward. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for speaking with me today. It's a great film. Best of luck with it and congratulations. Yeah,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
absolutely.